Damon Martin, MMA Fighting, and I am back here with one of the top middleweight fighters in the world. He returns to action October 23rd in a fight that I am very much looking forward to, and I know he is as well, against Paulo Costa. Welcome back today, the great Marvin Vettori. Marvin, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good, man. Good to go. Ready again for another battle, so I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you look forward to punching every opponent in the face. How much do you look forward to punching Paulo Costa in the face?
Very, very much. This is a fight I wanted for a while, and I feel like it's a really great matchup, and it's gonna be a fun fight for all the fans, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Now that it's this close, I kind of can't wait. So, I wanted this fight. Regardless of belt, no belt, I really wanted it, and I think it's going to be an awesome fight, and I'm really looking forward. And again, like I said, I want to knock this guy out, so it's got to be fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I know your manager. Now, listen, I understand your manager, Ali Abdelaziz, is going to be biased, but he's talked about seeing your sparring sessions, seeing your training sessions, seeing what you've been putting in the gym, and he believes it's going to be a quick knockout, first, second, third round. Kind of give me a sense like what training has been like. Has it been more fiery? Like, kind of give me a sense of what he's seeing.
It's just after my last fight, I was like, I gotta go in there and like, and again, like even all the decisions that I made that I won, they were never close. They were always like dominant decisions, but barely any fighter won a round. Whenever I won a decision, but. Even more, I gotta go out and I really worked on finishing, crossing that line and like going for the kill and smelling blood and just like, like sucking all your air until you can't go anymore and get you out of there, Yeah. So this has been the focus of on my last. For my last camp, because I can't let it go to the judges anymore, and I can't let all these people do speculation about this and that, and like, I gotta make it right for myself, and then I'm gonna like, and this is right for me. This is motivation. I'm gonna go out and like shut a lot of people up, and it's gonna be nice.
Yeah. Let me ask you, you mentioned that your last fight. Let's backtrack and real quick talk about the Adesanya fight because it didn't go your way. I got to be honest with you, Marvin, and I don't mean this. I'm just being honest with you. Like, I don't feel like we saw the best Marvin Vettori that night. And I think you'd probably agree that was not your best performance that night because I feel like what we've seen out of you in your last 5 or 6 fights, you had really kind of taken things up to another level. And I just think it just wasn't your best night at the office. There's no shame in that. It wasn't, obviously, I don't think you got dominated in any way, shape, or form. Wasn't that kind of fight, but kind of give me your sense coming on the other side. Like, can you be honest? Like, how do you feel about that fight now? So many months removed.
Yeah, like, it's, it was nothing like, again, like, he didn't really fight the fight. Like, he just, he knew was a champion, he knew he had the crowd, like in general, he's just, he never really like, and again, like, it's a problem on my side because he just did just enough to cruise, not risk much, and get the W. So he just it's not that he just didn't like he just didn't really engage, and so that's why like when there is like battles and a clash of the fighter, that's where my best comes out. But when you disengaging, trying to score here and there, and like just and fight that way, then I felt like I was off, and then a couple things went wrong, and I definitely did some mistakes that I addressed and that I know that I have to work on, and I worked on this camp. And in general, this is a learning process on anything. So I'm always improving, and I'm always looking to get better. But overall, he just fought a very smart fight. and that's his best attribute. I feel he's a smart fighter, more than a great fighter. He's a smart fighter, and again, this is not like this is on me. This is on me because I should have made him fight my fight. Meanwhile, he was able to get away with it and just disengage, score. He found a hole in the low kick, on the outside low kick, and even though it wasn't that damaging, kept scoring. And like he was able to include the crowd, like get the crowd and like making it look like he was in control. Meanwhile, I feel like I had more weapons against him than he had against me, actually. So fought a smart fight, and I feel like that's why that wasn't the best me. But again, he's not that. With that being said, I'm not making any excuse like, oh, I wasn't in shape or I wasn't ready. Any of that shit. Like I was in the best shape of my life, and I was ready to go. It just he was smarter in that fight.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I don't want to take the attention away from Paulo Costa, come back to him in 2 seconds, but considering, the first fight was a very controversial split decision. Second time, again, even if you lost, it was not like a dominant performance. It's not like you got knocked down 9 times or, it was like a crazy, nothing like that. Do you feel like you're still so young, Marvin, you're so young. I mean, you got so much more room to grow. Do you feel like there's still unfinished business there with Israel? It's like you will see him again.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, if he ain't going nowhere, I ain't going nowhere. And I mean, so there's just no way that I'm not going to see him again. And I kept saying this before, and I'm sure of this. I'm sure of this. And right now it's not even my focus, but I know for a fact I'm going to see him again.
Yeah. So now with Paulo Costa, this is a guy, and I know we've talked about Paulo in the past because this is a guy you've wanted to fight before. Not to put a negative spin. I don't want to open this with like a negative question, but I got to ask you the honest question here, Marvin. Was there any concern about this fight actually happening? Because of, Paulo, since the Adesanya fight, he had one pullout and then he had another where it was like, he said it was a contract issue. I don't know. And he's had a lot of weird things go on in this last year, like a lot of really weird things with Paulo Costa. Was there any nerve like he wasn't going to take this fight? He was going to make this fight?
Yeah, a little bit in the beginning, but then, yeah, I mean, a little bit in the beginning, even the way he pulled out from Jared Cannonier fight, and like, so a little bit definitely. I've been seeing like he's been training. So I feel like, I mean, this fight is going to happen. So yeah, so a little bit in the beginning, but I kind of felt like from when he accepted, it was the time for him to come back, and he wanted this fight, and his manager was talking a bunch of shit like over and over every day. I'm like, whoa, let's fucking stop. So I felt like they wanted to. I know they won this fight too. So yeah. So I mean, a little bit. I know, like, exactly like you said. Like there was a little bit of weirdness going on in the beginning in the last year for him. But I mean, I'm glad it came together and we're fighting.
Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, every fight you go in there, Marvin, it's about what you're going to do. I know you're not sitting there obsessing about Paulo Costa. You're out there getting your training in, getting yourself prepared for what you're going to do to him. But I got to ask the honest question. What do you expect out of him? Because going into the Adesanya fight, he had all this hype behind him. He'd been kind of like this real aggressive terror, and then he goes in there and has this really bizarre performance against Adesanya, and credit to Israel for beating him. And then everything since then has just been really weird. I know, I don't know a better word to say, weird. Like, it's been a really weird time. Like, what do you expect out of Paulo Costa?
No, I expect him to come out ready and aggressive, and he'll definitely try. And then he'll figure out that it won't be as easy as because he never even faced anybody like me, to be honest. Not even close. So he'll try, but I expect him to be ready and then to come out hard and aggressive. It's just I won't let him put up his game. I will shut him off. I think I'm a superior striker. I'm a superior MMA fighter, and I'll be able to, shut off his offense and stuff. So, but I don't expect him to come out weird or not ready. That's I expect him to be the best that he's ever been.
Yeah. You mentioned with the Adesanya fight, it was weird because Israel was kind of, outpointing you and not really bringing the fight. You like a guy to kind of bring the fight to you. That's been what Paulo Costa is best known for. His aggression is coming forward. Do you feel like stylistically this is a great fight for you in that way? If he comes out and fights like he normally does, that plays right into your favor.
Yeah. I like a guy that obviously engages, and fight, for sure.
You mentioned, of course, after what happened in the last one, you don't want decisions, you want finishes. Now we understand there's going to be decisions. It happens. It's just part of the sport. But when you look at Paulo's style and you look at this kind of renewed vigor inside of you to say you want to finish him, like, kind of give me an idea. How long do you think he will last in this fight?
See, like, 4 rounds.
Do you think you can make it that far?
I think he can take a good amount of damage. But hey, I've been working so much on my punches. It might, I might catch him clean. It might be goodbye. It might be goodbye from early on. So it's hard. It's hard to tell. We'll see. But I have enough time to finish him. That's what I care the most, and I will.
Every fight you have, Marvin, whether you're the main event or the first fight on the prelims, is a chance to kind of make a statement and do something special. It doesn't matter where you're at, but of course you are the main event. You are headlining this card, and you are, coming back from the Adesanya fight. Do you feel like there is something to prove in this fight, a statement to make in a fight like this? Being the headliner, facing another guy like Costa, another top 5 guy, like, is there a statement to make in a fight like this?
It's for me, it's for me. It's not for anybody else, to be honest. It's for me. I want to knock this dude out for myself, and for whoever supported me and throughout all these years, for the real loyal ones and close ones, not for anybody else,
Yeah, we have seen it. Now, I don't take you as this kind of guy, Marvin, at all, but I'm just bringing this up. We have seen some fighters, coming off a title fight, there's a little bit of a lull. There's a little bit of a drag, almost like, kind of like a downturn because you're coming off the title fight. And it's hard for people to work their way back. Now, I don't take you like that. You've always been a pretty self-motivated guy. I'm sure if they said you're going to fight Adesanya tomorrow, you'd be like, "Well, sign me up. Let's go." But do you feel like you're in the place now where like you're ready to put the work in to get back to where you need to go? And I'm not focusing on Adesanya. I'm just focused on the title. But like, do you feel like this is?
No. But look, that's why they always say, champions are really are more defined on how they come back than to how they win the title. And I didn't win the title, but how I'm gonna look on my next fight is gonna say a lot about me. So I feel like this is a very important fight, of course. And no, man, it's like the way I am is just I either do them properly, I either do things properly or I don't. And once you even for my last fight, I raised the standards of almost anything. Now, one thing that I don't like to do in life is to go backwards in general. By saying that, I challenged for the title. I didn't win the title. But the training that I put up, I still raised the bar on everything. Now, I cannot let myself go back. I cannot. It's just not. It's just the fact that I didn't win the title already kind of stop me in my pursuit of winning it. I cannot let myself down on not training at the hardest that I can, and give my whatever that I can possibly give in my training camp and in my preparation. And like I said, for me to do it for myself and for the people that I really care is the most important thing. It should actually always be like that. So No, man, very motivated, very, very ready, and mind, body, and spirit in the right place, and so I'm ready for battle.
Now, is there any chance after this one's over? I know there's always gonna be a little bit of bad blood. I know Paulo said some things, his manager said some things. Any chance after the fight you guys could share a bottle of wine after the fight?
We'll see. I can find you more after the fight. I need him there too.
Real quick before I get you,
knowing out where I'm from to be able to drink,
Yeah. Real quick before I get you out of Marvin, one thing that happened, in between fights, and I know you've kind of addressed this, but I got to ask you, I'd be a bad reporter if I didn't ask you about it, was the comment you made about Paul Felder with the commentary. Now you're fighting, but here's the weird thing. You're fighting in the Apex, which is where we actually now know you can actually hear the commentary during your fight. Can you kind of give me a sense like what the issue is with Paul and can you put that behind you going into this fight knowing he's actually going to be calling your fight?
I'll definitely put it behind, and I'll be laser focused when I'm in the cage. But I just don't like. And again, I came out saying this because I saw it happening to a friend of mine, and not actually to myself. By saying that, it actually happened to myself too, multiple times, and one of the times was actually my last fight. Paul Felder tried to be like the smart kid, in the comments when you replied to me, and I didn't really like that. But it's not that I didn't like it. It's just like that where he comes from. Like coming from him, it's not like it didn't really make sense. But he tried to like be funny. But I addressed the thing that was important to me. Sometimes I feel like commentators, they just like, they just try to like bias the public and whoever watches the fight because they have that power sometimes. And it's wrong. It's wrong because, we put our heart and soul out there. And even him being a fighter and even him, talking to the fighters before they fight, he should know better. But sometimes, I don't know what goes on, but, I just feel like he's, like, him in particular is a puppet, and I'll see him, I'll talk to him, and then I like to talk face to face, and by saying that, it's not that like at the end of the day, we're in a civilized society, civilized by kind of like civilized, like, but yeah, by saying that it's not that he's gonna bother me or nothing, but I just couldn't keep my mouth shut when I saw it happen to a friend.
Yeah. You mentioned I mean, again, I'm not like, I don't want to make this sound like it's confrontational because I know it's not, but you will see it. I know they do the fighter meetings during the week where you guys go in and sit down and talk to the commentators. Will you talk to Paul, like, and actually just have an honest conversation with him?
Yeah, I'll talk to him for sure. I mean, whenever I see him, I'll talk to him for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we've seen it. And listen, I think I think the commentators that do the UFC, I think the fighters, especially Daniel Cormier, Dominic Cruz, Michael Bisping. I think there's some great commentators. But I know I've had this conversation with Joe Rogan in the past. There are times where fighters can get upset. We hear some of the bias in there. It has happened. And hopefully everyone can address it because I've been guilty of that too. I've listened to commentary for some fights and it's kind of skewed me. Like I kind of like, oh yeah, and then I rewatch without the commentary and I see it a different way. It does kind of affect you. It can happen. So like I said, I hope that's not the case. And I think Paul does a great job. I like Paul very much. But again, I can't sit there and say I've listened to every single thing ever he said. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's honest enough to have a conversation about it. So, talk to him and hopefully, put it all behind you on fight week, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just expect from anybody that does their work to be able to do their job properly, and that's what I ask. That's the only thing I ask. So if he does it properly, then there shouldn't be any problem.